You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello Night Nation, hello Orlando. Boy, this is exciting. All right, we're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. We're taking your calls, though, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. I am Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32. We have a big program for tonight, just because a lot has happened in the last week. So first of all, I want to welcome in as well Kyle Israel is with us, I believe. Kyle, are you there?
I'm here, guys.
All right. Well, Kyle, we got to talk about this. I'm so excited I don't even know what to say, and that's bad for a guy. That's bad for a guy hosting a radio show. But Gus Malzahn, new head coach at UCF. We found this out, really for sure yesterday. How do you feel about this? You're a UCF alumni, quarterback from UCF. During the years of opening the stadium and all that stuff. How does this make you feel?
I think this is really incredible. I mean, if you go back even, 5-6 years ago, if we would have, looked into a crystal ball into the future and said we'd end up in a scenario where Gus Malzahn was our head coach, we would have been thrilled. And I don't think
people would have thought you were crazy.
Right. I don't think much has changed as far as his coaching ability. In fact, if you listen to him yesterday, he's coming out and saying that this is the best Gus Malzahn has ever been. So yeah, I'm super excited. He was kind of a guy that you were like, I don't know if we actually have a shot at getting somebody like him. So let's talk about these other candidates. But a phenomenal last 21 days, right, where we go through a whole roller coaster of emotions, and somehow we've ended up in a better position than we were before, in my opinion. So
one of the things I want to say about that is thank you, Danny White. You did this awesome going out, man. That's your legacy now at UCF, is that you facilitated this.
Facilitated it, made, I think Danny White is, one of the key pieces for why Gus Malzahn would have seen UCF in the light that he did, why Terry Mohajir would see UCF in the light that he did. So I think that what Danny did when he came here and the success that we've had and then kind of clearing the way at the same time to allow us to restart and go in a different direction. I mean, it truly, honestly has turned out to be, an incredible scenario. And I think we're extremely lucky to get a guy as talented as Gus Malzahn. Listen, I played against him when he was the offensive coordinator at Tulsa in 2007, twice that season. Their offense was unbelievable. We beat them twice that year. And I'll make sure to remind him of that if I talk to him anytime
you
soon.
You should, Kyle.
I will remind him of that.
But that team was incredible, though, because that was the team that had a 5,000-yard quarterback, a 1,000-yard runner, and three 1,000-yard receivers. Correct?
Yeah, and Paul Smith was the quarterback. They were incredible as far as their offense was concerned, and that was really Gus coming out of the high school ranks and getting into some of those early coordinator positions. And it was obvious that whatever they were doing, whatever they were running, which at that time, as most people know, compared to George O'Leary offense, was opposite of what we were doing. it was very high powered. So I just think we're in an incredible position. And from a quarterback perspective, lastly, I love hearing him say that he's going to call plays for the rest of his career, because that's truly what separated Gus Malzahn from the rest, was his ability to call plays and make adjustments in the game.
Yeah, touching on that, Kyle, in the quarterback, from a quarterback's perspective, and as long as everything works out, and I'm sure the conversations are, at least the first of many conversations has already happened with Dillon Gabriel, and I hopefully for all of us that went really well. I believe it would. And is this, looking at the quarterbacks that he has had, at least as a head coach, I mean, Dillon Gabriel has to be right up there as one of the more talented quarterbacks that he's been able to, coach as a head coach and play caller. So what do you see? I mean, we all have high hopes for Dillon in his junior year to really explode even more so than last year. And it just seems like with Gus Malzahn behind him and kind of giving him that guidance, seems like it could be a huge year for Dillon and Gus working together.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when you look, some of the successful quarterbacks that Gus has had have been guys that were mobile and were able to run the football, going back to even his coordinator days. And so I'm interested to see how Coach Malzahn has progressed, because at the end of the day, you've got to coach the talent that you have. And Dillon is a phenomenal thrower of the ball, extremely accurate, extremely smart, can process extremely quickly. We saw that last year in the up-tempo offense, where he only had 2 to 3 seconds, to call a play, snap the ball, make a read, and make a throw that quickly. And so Dillon has a lot of talent that I think are going to be kind of new to Gus Malzahn. And so I'm excited to see what he's done in the past with what Dillon's capable of doing, kind of meshed together with some of the stuff Coach Heupel was doing, and maybe even some stuff after watching film of what Coach Frost was doing. And I think that he's going to coach Dillon the way that, Dillon is going to be successful. Is he going to be running more? We saw a little bit of that later on in the season last year. But I think if I was Dillon Gabriel, I would have woke up with a huge smile on my face today, knowing that this was going to be my head coach, a guy that truly wrote a book on the offensive scheme that they're running. And, I think Dillon's in a great position, and this will help him progress to becoming a better quarterback, because I do think there were some limitations in the prior offense just based on the simple nature when you kind of took back all the fluff.
Do you think that Gus Malzahn will have more than 4 plays?
I think Gus Malzahn will have at least double that. We actually may have 8 power running plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't be shocked to see a fullback, because that's something that he does. So that'll be a new thing for us. We haven't had in a while. Using the tight ends, like all the things that we kind of, wished that Heupel would do, I think we're going to see now, which is going to be exciting.
I agree. And I think that, what caught me, what really pleased me yesterday was just to hear a coach that got up there and was extremely enthusiastic and energetic and engaging. Yes, he said all the right things, but there was a lot of truth in saying all the right things. And so
I think he changed a lot of minds that on Sunday night were not really behind him.
I think so too. And we cannot look at an Auburn situation and their perspective of Gus Malzahn and draw our own conclusion based off of that, because it's a totally different context, totally different expectation. And that's why I said, if you go back to 5 years ago, the idea that Gus Malzahn was going to be our head coach was a pipe dream. And so I think that for whatever fans were disappointed, there is so much upside to this. His ability to recruit Central Florida, he was a boots-on-the-ground type of guy here in Orange County, Seminole County, Lake County, recruiting for Auburn.
Big time.
I think
Big time.
He may have better connections than even Coach Heupel's staff did in Central Florida.
Absolutely. No question.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Let me play this clip for you. This is what got me the most excited, I think.
This, to me, is one of the top 20 coaching jobs in all of college football. Okay? And before this thing came open, I was set on setting out. But I will say this. I've been coaching 30 years. They're getting the best Gus Malzahn coach of any time in my career, from the fact that I had 8 weeks to reflect, refresh, kind of evaluate too, and to be better the next time you do it. And so that's when I tell you at the very first that I'm one of the most excited I've been in my whole coaching career. It's legit.
That's awesome.
I mean,
I'm excited about that.
You saw a reinvigorated Gus Malzahn there. You just saw a guy that was so excited about the opportunity. You mentioned that we're going to get the best Gus Malzahn. That's what he mentioned in that clip. That's just it. That was the part of the press conference, I agree with you, Andrew, that made me just so excited about this hire.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few things, and he, especially the way that he talks about recruiting. Let me play one more clip, and then we'll talk for the rest of the time. I'm sorry.
We're going to recruit Florida like nobody else. We're going to recruit like our hair is on fire. We're going to go after the best players in America, and we're not backing down to anybody. We've got a lot to offer here, and we're going to put together a staff that will be able to do that. The footprint that we'll be recruiting in, I've already got experience. I already know the top players. I already know the coaches and everything that goes on. Florida will be our priority, but we'll also recruit Georgia, we'll recruit Alabama, and we'll recruit South Carolina. Now, if we have relationships outside of a certain player, we will, but we're going to spend our most of our time within a 6-hour circle.
That sounds pretty good to me, because that's what we've been clamoring for quite a while, for somebody to recruit, the kids that are in our backyard.
Totally agree. And I think we saw that obviously very early on with Coach Frost, right? He got to town and he scooped up Adrian Killens and got some other local commits. But listen, Gus Malzahn is a national brand, and people have said it over the last 24 hours, but it can't be overlooked. I mean, when you're going into a household and you're wearing a UCF logo, sure, we have a certain brand that we've built, but you also have Gus Malzahn added on top of that. That is a totally different national brand that certainly Coach Heupel didn't bring to the table as he's early on in his coaching career. And really, Scott Frost at the time didn't bring that to the table too much outside of his charisma. There wasn't this national brand around him yet. And so I think when you kind of bring all of those things together, plus the relationships. Yes, you're not walking in with an Auburn SEC logo on your jacket anymore, but you've been able to make some headway that maybe some other coaches who are being considered haven't done yet in their careers. And I think that goes a really, really long way for our program. And I think it validates in some way where we've come, because, again, we just wouldn't have been considered for this level of a coach, or by this level of coach, in my opinion, where he said he was excited, took those 8 weeks off. 8 weeks for a coach doing nothing is an eternity compared to how they usually live their lives.
He spoke about these, there was more in that clip, that he talked about. So
it's a long time for a coach.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy about those things.
Yeah, I think that he's, possibly – I think he could be here for a while. I don't think that he's the guy that will jump immediately, once he does good for a couple of years or whatever. This guy's done it. It's already been done. He's been in the SEC. He's made tons and tons of money. I mean, heck, he's making $21 million for getting fired. We're paying him 2.3, I believe, for a year, 11.5 for 5 years. He doesn't need that money, so he's a guy that's, I think he's going to be here for a while. Anyway, that'll be coming up later in my hot take. But, Kyle, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We got to go to break. Kyle's on Knightline, the podcast, all the time, so we'll see you later, Kyle. Thank you.
Sounds good, guys.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave us family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, and we're brought to you by Chadbar Law. I got Big Ben Stout here with me, and we're talking, obviously, UCF. We just had Kyle Israel on in the second half of the show, the top of, or I guess the bottom of the hour it would be. After the news, we're going to have Brandon Helwig from UCFsports.com, the rival site for UCF that handled this spectacularly, the whole situation. I know he's incredibly excited about all this, and so we're going to talk to him. Ben, this, it's just, I'm super excited. I mean,
yeah,
I'm almost speechless, which is bad for me to do that. But this is a huge deal.
It really is. I mean,
we all wanted, a lot of us wanted Coach Lebby.
Yeah, sure. I mean, all of Night Nation for the most part.
We love Coach Lebby. I know Coach Lebby. Of course I wanted him, but you can't pass up getting Gus Malzahn for $11.5 million for 5 years. You can't.
Yeah, I thought about that earlier today when I read a little bit about the contract, how I remember back in 2004, I think it was, when George O'Leary signed a 10-year deal for $10 million. And even that just kind of shows you where we just hired Gus Malzahn, 5 years, 11.5. And so, any of my friends that have asked me about this, I mean, to get somebody with his level of experience, head coaching for almost a decade in arguably the toughest division forget conference, toughest division in all of college football. I mean, you want to talk about a high pressure situation. This guy's been in every single one of them. And certainly it's just a home run hire for UCF. I'm just so excited for our fan base, for us. It's going to be an exciting, hopefully 5+ years of Gus running the show.
He made $6.9 million last year at Auburn.
Yeah, what was his buyout again? Like 24?
It was $21.3 million, I think.
Yeah.
But he made 6.9. I mean, so we got him for half price, basically. Not even more than half price,
right.
Actually. So, I still think that some UCF fans were a little bit upset, of course, about this when it all came out. And I don't think that they are anymore. After the press conference and stuff, I ran a little Twitter poll last night, and it was basically saying it was very simple. I didn't even ask a real question as far as anything about the coach. I just said, how do we feel? How do we feel tonight, Night Nation? And we got 96.9% of the people said good.
Yeah,
the 3.1% of the people said not so good. So I think that after the press conference and everything, that people have bought in a lot more than I thought they would, because Sunday night when all this started coming out, people were not so happy about it.
I think the press conference won everyone, and I mean almost everyone over. I mean we were looking at Twitter on Sunday night when a lot of this was kind of coming down, where it was looking like it was going to be Gus as the head coach. And there were some negative comments out there. There was a lot of negative comments, actually. And you saw none of that last night after that press conference. I mean, he got everyone in Night Nation excited, and that's pretty great for what he not only brings to us as a team and as a program, but you can tell what he's going to bring to the recruiting trail as well.
Check out this clip real quick from that press conference. This is one of my favorites as well. I just picked my favorite stuff.
I've had a lot of respect for the program for a long period of time. I was telling Terry during the interview process, the last 5 years, from time to time, I would tell our staff that, if the right guy ever got to UCF, if the right guy ever got there and would stay there and build it, everybody else would be in trouble. I feel like I'm that right guy.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Just run through a wall for that guy.
Yeah, I mean,
already.
Seriously, absolutely. So we're a little disappointed, obviously, for Jeff Lebby and maybe even some of the other candidates people wanted. But I just don't think that you can go wrong with a guy like this that has been there and done that in the SEC. He's a proven winner. Yes, he's had some up and down years a couple times, but I don't believe that he ever had a losing season. I'd have to look back at the records, but as far as I know, I don't think that he had a losing season at Auburn.
Not as a head coach at all. He's never had a losing season as a head coach, as far as I know.
No. In conference he did, but 7-6, 7-6, 6-4 were his two worst seasons. And obviously, one of those seasons was last year, 6-4 though, to get fired, and that's
during the COVID year. It just shows you kind of the dynamic that's at those certain SEC schools like that. I think that, hey, good for us, I guess.
77-38 as a head coach of football, basically. So that's a pretty good record. His head coaching record, 77-38. I'll take it.
And most of that at Auburn.
Most of it in the SEC. Yeah,
exactly.
A good season at Arkansas State, of course, but that's in the Sun Belt. So
and he won a championship there.
I think that if he's used to running his offense against the competition of the SEC, he will do a wonderful job against the American.
Agreed.
All right, we'll be right back with Brandon Hellwig on Knightline at Night. Night Nation, I need to talk to you about something very near and dear to my heart. It's Tijuana Flat's new fajita tacos, available for a limited time. Grilled chicken or steak with fajita peppers and onions, garlic lime sauce, and guajillo chili salsa. Topped with cheddar jack cheese, crisp iceberg lettuce, and fresh pico on warm flour tortillas served with chips and salsa. We're talking good vibes and even better flavors from a whole nother plane of deliciousness. Available for a limited time either in-store or through their app and website for delivery or pickup. These aren't just fajitas. They're something better. True enlightenment. Fajita tacos. Available for a limited time only at your neighborhood Tijuana Flats. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up the menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And you can call us, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. Again, I am Andrew Phegley. I am AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me. He is at BigSocial32 on Twitter, and you can find all the rest of our stuff on NightlineSports.com and anywhere you can find podcasts. But we're talking about UCF sports because that's what we do, and we've got a guest joining us right now, Brandon Hellwig from UCFsports.com. Brandon, how are you doing tonight, my friend? What a week.
Yeah, I'm just kind of catching my breath a little bit. I mean, I was on edge for the past week, just every day, every night, like kind of filtered through all the rumors and everything going on, just was waiting and seeing what would ultimately happen. So it's kind of a relief knowing that at least the search phase is over with.
Isn't this exciting, though? Isn't that whole thing, like, exciting? Dude, I was refreshing your website, like, literally every second. I wore out the F5 button on my computer. It doesn't work anymore. I was just refreshing it, like, because you were coming out with stuff so fast. And if you, some of you UCF fans or even not UCF fans, if you're not on his website, UCFsports.com, pay the money. It is worth more than anything in a situation like this, because Brandon had all the inside information, and you did an awesome job. It was awesome to watch things happen as they did.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. But yeah, it's not really that surprising when you look at it that Gus Malzahn was going to be the pick. I mean, in retrospect, you look at, how he worked for that 1 year with Terry Mahajer at Arkansas State. And when you kind of look at the field of candidates who were in the mix, I mean, Gus really, in all honesty, he stands out. I mean, I know the fan base and the players a lot of them were fixated on, Jeff Lebby, Ole Miss offensive coordinator, who had been at UCF the prior 2 years. But just when you look at the experience, the total package, the personality, the track record, for everything, I think, Terry Mahajer and the powers of UCF feel they need right now. I mean, Gus Malzahn pretty much checks every box, and the attention UCF has received from a national standpoint over the last, day and a half has been nothing short of amazing. And I think, as the reaction when it came out that this was probably going to be the guy, Gus, he was overwhelmingly negative. You saw it on Twitter.
We talked about
that. You saw it on the message board. Yeah, everyone's like on, Jeff Lebby. They don't wanted him and nobody else. But when everyone kind of calmed down a little bit and recognized who Gus Malzahn is and what he represented, and more importantly, listen to him in the press conference, now everyone's like, yeah, how could it be anyone but Gus Malzahn? So it's just kind of funny how the fan base kind of changes. But, I mean, I understand how it goes. And I think everyone's going to be really excited about what Gus brings to UCF.
Yeah, and obviously on UCFsports.com, you're covering a lot of recruiting stuff. So talk about, and Kyle touched on it a little bit when we talked to him earlier on, but just talk about the amount of influence that he has on not only recruiting in general, but certainly a large footprint in the state of Florida, and just how he can recruit down here in Florida, and now doing it from a local school.
Yeah, when I said Gus checks a lot of boxes, he checks a big box that I think had been, untapped by UCF the past few years, and that's recruiting. I really don't think UCF recruited as well as they should have for the success the program has been having. And that kind of starts with Frost a little bit, and some of his recruiting. He did find some, obviously his first year in stars, and maybe didn't recruit defensive linemen the way he should have, and then with Heupel. I know it was a tough gig, taking over. Frost leaves, all of a sudden you got to recruit a class in 2 weeks for the early signing. I know it wasn't easy, but I know it raised a lot of eyebrows when this past year. I know it's tough with COVID. You don't have visits and whatnot, but UCF barely signed any players from the state of Florida. I mean, you talk about what's UCF's advantage, as a program, you're in the middle of Florida and you're surrounded by talent. I mean, you should be able to recruit guys from Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville. There's so many great players. I don't know why you wouldn't. And that's one thing I know that Gus Malzahn in his interview, and one thing he really hammered home, he's like, man, I'm going to recruit Florida. I understand what it takes to recruit. I've been a great recruiter. I know how to hire great recruiters on staff that are also great position coaches. And that was something UCF was lacking. They didn't have much personality as a staff, I don't think they really connected with recruits maybe the way they should have. And Gus has been, playing this recruiting game for a long time. And, just if you guys watch his press conference, he was impressive there. Just imagine, how he is. I guess, when visits finally are allowed to happen again, when he gets face to face with a kid and his parents and goes on a home visit and starts talking to the mom and everything. I mean, he's going to have people eating out of his hand. And so it's easy to see the kind of success that I think he's going to have. And that's one area I think I'm most excited to see how that goes, because that's one area I think that really has been underperforming the last few years at UCF.
Well, there's a rumor of a defensive coordinator position possibly, and this guy's a heck of a recruiter too.
Yeah. Travis Williams, he was played at Auburn, was a longtime position coach, linebackers coach with Gus, and from my understanding, I mean, that was part of his interview. He was kind of talking about the staff he would bring in. He mentioned Travis Williams specifically, that he's already on board, and all these coaches do it when they get in the interview process. They kind of get the preliminary staff together, at least call guys and say, hey, if I get this job, will you come? And so this one's kind of been in the works for a little while, and he went down to Miami, was hired at Miami. He's been there for a few weeks, but he's going to come up to Orlando and be the defensive coordinator. And I know guys will really react positively to him. He's kind of been described as one of the top recruiters in the nation the past few years, and so I know people are really excited to see what he can do once he gets on that recruiting trail, and we'll learn more about staff. I know as day goes on. I think that's the only one that I think is nothing's official. UCF has not officially announced Travis Williams yet, but I'm pretty sure
everybody
that will be soon.
Has.
Yeah, it's happening. I mean, I heard it before the press conference. I heard it around noon. I got a call yesterday before the press conference that it was going to happen, that it was in the works. So I think we'll hear a little bit more names as the week goes on.
Yeah. And that's an exciting thing as well. Now, I don't know. I was doing something when Ben was asking you about recruiting. Do you think that the ceiling will be able to go up with what Gus Malzahn is able to do? I mean, do you think I know he's already offered some guys. He offered a 5-star guy just a little while ago. We saw. Do you think that's even possible?
I don't know.
Could he be the key to that?
I think people need to be maybe a little bit more realistic in terms of it. When you kind of look at UCF recruiting the past few years, you're not going to compete head to head with Alabama and Georgia and in most cases Florida and Miami for guys that they really want. But there's so many quality players that go out of state, and UCF still will lose a lot of those battles to some of these more, middle tier Power 5 schools. And if you can lock down, all those guys that you want, and you can maybe, pick off a few of the really top guys. I mean, you're not going to, be able to beat, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida for your entire class. But if you can pick off a few of those guys and then, get some solid, high three-star type players that, maybe ordinarily would have been going to some of these middle-of-the-pack SEC, ACC type schools, I think you'll be on your way. And, for God, I mean, he only needs to worry about beating, Cincinnati and Memphis and having the most talent there. And we'll see what happens with non-conference schedules going forward. But, I mean, it's not the bar is a little bit lower in terms of, being the top dog. I know it's been referred to. UCF should kind of be like an Alabama type of the G5, and you won't have to play, Alabama and LSU and Georgia every single year like you did at Auburn. So I think he'll have a much easier time kind of out talenting everyone else in the conference.
Yeah, and he can out-coach a lot of the coaches in the conference as well. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things. He just seemed so revitalized and so excited. Were you surprised by how excited he seemed? I mean, I know a lot of head coaches in their intro press conference are excited, but he genuinely seemed excited about this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with Gus at Auburn, but I'm not sitting in watching every press conference and media session, all that stuff that he's done. But people who cover Auburn that have been covering him for the last 8 or 9 years say this is the most energetic and excited and enthusiastic they can remember him seeing. That they really feel that. I don't know if it's a wake-up call or whatever it was, the 8 weeks or so he was out of a job and kind of, self-reflection and, what do I want to do? And, his roots are as a high school coach. That's what he just loves, being a coach, teaching the game, molding young men. And that's really who he is. And I think he's excited about this opportunity. He's got a lot of reasons, tens of millions of reasons, I should say, that he doesn't have to really worry about, the next stop or the next job. So, he could put down roots in Orlando. I think that's something that, UCF people were very attracted to. I mean, you had to replace, Frost after 2 years, Heifel after 3 years. And I think that's another thing that they like about Malzahn, that he was clear that, this is a job he wants and he's not looking to go anywhere. He can kind of be that George O'Leary type in terms of a coach, kind of not looking to make that next move. And, some of these other candidates, if, you have a good season or two, those guys would probably be out the door. So I think that's an appealing thing when you look at conference realignment. It potentially could be happening, who knows, the next few years when some of these TV contracts are up, and having a stable, influence like Gus and, a nationally recognized name. I think that was viewed as a big positive as well.
Okay, hey, real quick here, Brandon. We've got a caller on the phone, and we should probably take his call. So we'll take Michael real quick on the phone. Michael, what's going on, my friend? What's your question? What do you got to say?
Well, I've got probably more of a statement. A couple of things I was going to mention. I'm from Arkansas. I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas, where the University of Arkansas is. And so I knew Gus Malzahn, but I knew him from the high school coaching days, going into the college arena. And guys, I'm telling you, UCF has hit the lottery, and you guys think that you're millionaires, but you are billionaires. I don't quite think that Floridians know Gus Malzahn yet, but you were just talking about high school recruiting. I don't think there's a better coach in the U.S. that has better relationships with high school coaches than Gus Malzahn, especially in the Florida, Georgia, Alabama area. But I think that's huge. Also, another thing is, when Gus was coaching high school football, he wrote a book on offense that changed college football completely. But before college football caught on to it, he was in high school coaching, wrote the book, and had NFL organizations buying the book and making changes to their offenses. That's from a high school coach. Hurry Up, No Huddle
was called. Yeah. Hurry Up, No Huddle. Yeah.
Literally wrote the book.
And the Wildcat and everything else. So, and then the recruiting base you've got here in Florida, and Gus isn't going to go anywhere. I'm telling you guys this. You see a lot of these big coaches in college, and when their time is done for whatever reason, in the ACC or especially the SEC, you'll see them go into good programs and conferences where it's not, they're killing each other every single Saturday.
Awesome. So hey, thank you so much for your call. We got to go to a break. Brandon, thank you so much. If you want to stick around into the next segment, we would appreciate it. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Yeah. Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're brought to you by Chadbar Law. Hey, I want to apologize to Michael that I had to cut him off, and I kind of had to cut Brandon off, too. Brandon, you still there? I hope that you held on. Okay, good. Sorry about that. We so rarely get phone calls that I had to take it. That was a great phone call. There you go, right there, Brandon. Somebody talking about knowing him from Arkansas and as a high school coach. That right there, he said it.
Yeah, that was a great call. I mean, cut me off and let that guy talk some more. But yeah, that was some interesting perspective of Gus, and really, I think those at what the heart of UCF is going to get. And they're getting, UCF is getting a head coach. And another thing that really struck me in the press conference yesterday is kind of when Terry Mohajir talked about, when he spoke with the players when he got here, what they wanted in a coach, and they pretty much told him that one of the biggest themes is they wanted someone who connected with them, not just as football players, but as people as well. And that was an interesting comment to kind of say that, maybe that was lacking in a previous staff, that connection wasn't there. And that's one thing that Gus is known for. I mean, guys love him. They love playing for him. You saw it yesterday on social media. A lot of his former Auburn players and other players that played for him through the years are happy for him, giving him congratulations publicly on Twitter and whatnot, and guys love playing for him, and Gus acknowledged that and said, if players they love you, they love playing for you, you're going to get the most out of them. And I think maybe that's something UCF didn't have. They weren't getting the most out of their players because that love, or that appreciation maybe wasn't as good as you would have liked with the previous staff.
Yeah, and I think that actually carries through the theme that one of my favorite lines of Terry Mohajir's introductory press conference is when he starts talking about NLI for life, like NLI to life, I mean, just from the moment you sign that national letter of intent to the your dying days, that we want to make sure that you are a part of what we're building here and what we're continuing to, the foundation that we've built. And so that does kind of tie to what Mohajir believes. And you can see how they're so in sync between those two guys with Gus Malzahn and Terry Mohajir just being together on that, really caring about the athletes, not only about their performance on the field or on the court, but certainly their performance in life and supporting them in that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to kind of look back at this. I definitely think UCF is getting a major upgrade in head coach and coaching staff, but kind of a different kind of upgrade in athletic director. And maybe upgrade's not the right word because Danny White was tremendous, did so much to elevate this program. But, I think Terry can kind of, take the baton from Danny and run with it. He's a lot more, I feel like he's more approachable than Danny White. Just some stuff I've heard from people who've talked with him and some, feedback from players who have met him that they kind of feel like, they can be more at ease with him. And maybe Danny was a little bit more guarded where, Terry kind of has a more outgoing personality. So, all things considered, it was kind of a dark time, just the psyche of the fan base when we talk about just a couple months ago following that that bowl game against BYU, and a lot of people were questioning the direction of the program under Heupel. Just depressing COVID year. It just wasn't a lot of excitement. Recruiting wasn't exciting, and now just think about it. 2 months later, everyone just the attitude has changed. So there's just a lot more to look forward to as we kind of hopefully put COVID behind us at some point. But as we kind of look towards 2020, there's a lot to be excited about.
Absolutely, Brandon. This is going to be probably one of the most exciting off seasons that we've had around here. I can't wait. It's just going to be absolutely exciting. Thank you so much for joining us. Brandon, really appreciate it. Again, UCFsports.com to follow Brandon. Thank you to Kyle Israel. We will be back next week on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, and he is Ben Stout. Thank you very much.